Lumos. Hello, friends. Welcome back to Shell Cottage Radio. I'm your host, Ezra, aka Bill, also known as Sir Ezra the Watchful, History of Magic Professor, the Flannel Wizard, obviously, yours truly, me. Please welcome your lovely design witch, the fascination of fourth year, and my wonderful co-host and yours, Lottie, aka Fleur.
Einen wunderschönen guten Tag. We are so happy that you are here. Come on in and make yourself at home in our beautiful little cottage on the outskirts of Kenworth. This is episode number 77 of Shell Cottage, and this week we will be talking about chapter 20 of Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, the Dementor's Kiss. First, we'll dive into some cottage catch-up, train for future trivia nights, and study some beasts.
Or some beats.
Studying those beets, yeah, I want to eat them up. Just cut up the beets and put them in a little bit of something. What do you eat with beets? Are just
Beetroots.
Beetroots are. What do you
They're
eat
yummy.
with it? What do you put them in?
I don't know.
You eat them by themselves?
Like a couscous salad?
I guess. I don't know.
With feta
Just-
cheese?
Okay, you got me with the feta. The couscous.
Or,
I don't know.
Some casseroles. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I
When's
think
the last time we had beets?
We have some in the. We actually have some
Shut
in the pantry. Yes, I can show you right now.
Wow. No, don't do that.
No,
Okay.
It took us long enough to come here, so I'm not gonna get up.
Right. We just got all set up. So, please don't move. Just talk to me about some Harry Potter. So what's going on? How you doing?
I'm old now.
Whoa.
No, I actually feel really good. I had a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Thank you so much. Bill over here, he thought he would take me on a little retreat up in Cleveland.
Yeah.
And it was wonderful. We love going to Cleveland. We love going to the beach and just sniffing that fresh lake air. And we got a mega cool Airbnb.
We did.
I loved it. Thank you so much. That was a great surprise.
Mm-hmm.
We had great food. Oh my gosh, I think the best pizza in the world.
Yeah. Little Roni.
Ilarioni or something like
Ilarioni, Little Roni. That's what I'm
Yes.
calling it. Little pepperoni.
True Italian pizza. Because
Yeah.
my pizza didn't even have cheese on it. And it was so good because the marinara sauce was the best I think I've ever had. Very super fresh ingredients, very Italian style, thin crust. It was just so good.
It was so good. It was really so good. I mean, honestly, we had that with a little bit of just some drinks, and that was it. And we're good.
Yeah.
I mean, we pounded. What did I have? I had like a sausage cheese. There was a little bit of Parmesan on it, and some onions, I think, or something.
Yes.
But boy, was it good. It was delicious. And then you had, what was the garnish? You had something on top of yours
that was arugula. Yeah.
Arugula. It was great, guys. So.
And we also went to a really cool old bookstore. It was like a old style, very, very like, I don't know, Victorian style library bookstore.
Right.
It's called Loganberry, I think. Loganberry Books in Cleveland. And that was something. We took a lot of pictures. I think we stayed there for an hour probably.
Right.
Just to browse through all the books and have a look at the section in the back. They had really old, I think, first editions.
Yes, they did.
Of books.
Yeah. Apparently, it's if you're in the Cleveland area, you might know it already. And for us, it was just one of the top ranked.
Yeah, I mean,
bookstores. So
Megan, and Katie, and Tiffany probably know this bookstore.
Yeah. So.
Oh, I gotta find the doc again. So yeah, birthday was great. Thank you so much to everyone who reached out and said happy birthday. I mean, really, it made my day. And I don't really mind that much. I'm now, in a different decade of my life, and I'm really, really excited for this one because, it doesn't matter how old you are out there. It doesn't matter. Age is really just a number. It doesn't matter too much, but it's a phase in life where I feel like, okay, this old college go out travel Lottie is good now and has learned a lot about herself, and yeah, I'm just like very grateful where I am right now, and I'm so excited for what's to come in this next decade.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you had some aches and pains though immediately, right? Which was to be
Oh yeah.
expected. As anyone does who turns 30. Those of you who know, you know. And I'm sure some folks out there are like, hey guys, wait till you get to this age or that age, etc.
I know.
And life is a journey. I'm
Yes.
just excited to be on it with you and with all of our listeners and to just continue on. It's wild. The 30 just kind of pops up there and
I feel like 30 sounds worse than like 32 or 33. By the way, I'm a hobbit, so I'm not even like of age yet. So I'm good.
right. Yeah, just keep that in mind,
I'm an
friends.
underage hobbit.
This is a PG podcast, okay? So Lottie is not of age yet. She come 33, and in Hobbit years, she will be an adult Hobbit.
Yes.
So,
Yep.
we got a few years, so you'll grow with us, okay?
Yeah.
Crazy.
But otherwise, how
Anyway.
are you doing?
How am I doing? Doing great. I'm doing so just great. Actually, I'm overwhelmed. Why am I lying to folks here on the podcast?
Aw.
I'm not lying to you guys, but I'm just like, you get through January. Now we're in early February, and I kind of felt like we're actually recording this on, what is it, Tuesday?
Yeah.
Trying for a quick turnaround here. Hopefully we'll see how the editing goes to get this out on Wednesday, because thank you for everyone who is like, hey, appreciating the Wednesday uploads. And last week was it last week? Yeah, we were kind of struggling. And so this week again, we're here at knocking at the door, and I just want to be open about that because I love it. I love hearing people who are listening along with us and sending in owls, and it just kind of builds a little bit of excitement for us, and hopefully for you guys as well too. So yes, but I say that to say, like, the weeks just I keep thinking they're not going to be as busy, and they just keep getting busier.
I know.
Who's in charge of my calendar? You know what I mean? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like, we need to turn the calendar off. At one point, when I was coming into education, I was replacing, well, I think, and I taught with her during her last year. There was a lady who taught with me, and she was in her 35th year of teaching or something.
Wow.
And
knock on wood. Wow.
Right. Yeah. That first summer that I came in, I started the school year off, and I watched her walk in literally the day before school. Hadn't done anything all summer long. She walked in, she was ready to go, pumped. Last year, let's go. Well, the following year, she came in, and I saw her crawl under her desk and plug in her computer. She plugged it in, and she's like, okay, good. Fires it up. I'm like, all right, what's going on? Yeah. Everyone else's computers were plugged in, right?
Yeah.
And we get it about like a couple hours in, and then she's literally, I hear her just sort of yell and kind of like get this like little, real animated, like agitated yell, kind of like, what's going on? Slammed her hand for a second down on the desk. And she walks over to some of the other teachers in the room. We all work in this office. And she's like, wow, I can't believe it. I unplugged my computer and everything, and I'm flooded with emails from parents. How did they get to me?
Oh.
And I was, bless her heart. She thought that by unplugging the computer, that they would not be able to get those emails in there. And that's how I've been feeling. It's like,
if you take away the mailbox outside, no one can send letters.
Right. Like, where is my, like, how do I get a hold of my calendar? It's just out there running wild, and people are just booking meetings and this and that, blah, blah. It's my job. No, it's my job, and I don't mind doing it. But I'm just sitting here. I'm like, could you guys like maybe space these meetings out a little bit? Like, maybe not everybody have a crisis this week, kind of thing. That's just what I'm trying to say. And I thought of her this week because I thought, man, I wish I could just unplug my computer, shut her down, and like, sorry guys, power went off, couldn't, emails didn't come through.
Oh, I know. I mean,
hey, server's down.
During COVID, that was the standard. Like, sorry, internet's not working.
Right.
I have problems with my audio. Sorry, video's not working.
Right. Like, you were in classes and you're basically like, hey, sorry, camera is just off. I'm just going to sit here and kind of like listen.
Well, I couldn't do that really in class. I mean, yes, as a teacher, you can't really do that. As a student, you're just like, yeah, sorry.
Students just chilling.
So, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I know, it was the best time. I was still like finishing off last university classes. It's the best time ever because you could do class, like actually listen to the class, but also maybe get some other stuff done.
Yeah.
Like everybody did. Okay.
Everyone did, for sure. It also, I feel like I also put some people, like, some flashbacks there. People who don't want to go back to that. Because I'm like, there was good and there was also a lot of bad. I'm like, oh, It wasn't fun. Anyway, enough of that. I'm just busy, frazzled all over the place, you know, that kind of thing. But it's okay because I'm pumped. The shorts are going off. We're doing our podcast. I'm pumped. Those things, they get me going. You know what I mean? Like we
want to do more of that. Yes.
More of that. I mean, I'm excited. I was talking to a colleague of mine today, and there's a big con coming up in Cleveland in April that we might be trying to go up to. I think he might be trying to go as well.
Oh, that would be so cool. I could meet him. I think I've never met him.
I don't think so. Well,
that's cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go to Cleveland.
Let's go.
What is the con called? Do you remember?
I think it is called something. I think it's Wizard Con or something like that. Maybe.
Ooh, Wizard Con.
Not sure. Maybe I just made that up out of nowhere because you asked me on the fly, and you were just sort of like, "Yeah, tell us the name."
I have the internet at my fingertips,
and my fingers are sticky because if you're watching the visual. I'm about to be eating some dates.
So there is a fan expo. April 12th to 14th.
There we go.
Is that it?
That's it. Yep.
Okay, there we go. There's also though April 29, Wizard World Cleveland.
See, I knew there's a Wizard World something.
There's 2 different conventions that we could go to. Cool. Okay. Yeah, because we see people online posting pictures about conventions. We hear about conventions near us, and we almost went to a convention couple of weeks ago in Columbus, and we love going to conventions. So whenever we get the chance to go, we will.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, before we dive into our trivia training with just one question today, I just want to take 1 second to really, at the beginning of the episode, because we always do it at the end, really at the beginning of the episode, and you already kind of said it, tell you guys how grateful we are for you guys, for our listeners, for all the people who watch the YouTube videos and the shorts and everything on TikTok and Instagram. So thank you so much for everyone who is just listening. Even if you have never reached out, we thank you. Really.
We do.
So much. We appreciate you so much
it's huge
for being here with us.
we wanted some Potter people in our lives, you know, we wanted to do this and we enjoy it. It's our thing. And it's your guys' thing and we love it. So thank you for supporting us and for, you know, leaving a review, comments, likes, just a download, whatever it might be. Yeah. Thanks for listening. We really appreciate you.
Yes.
Also, on that note, I've been meaning to say this, and I'm just going to do right here live on the podcast, business meeting. Who knows? Maybe we'll cut it out. But I think what we should do, so, you know, we never know. Like, we're not super, I don't know. We haven't really been, how do I put this? We're just doing our podcast, doing our thing, moseying along. We want to give you guys some stuff. We picked kind of a high number, 50 reviews, I think we said, or something like that. We're probably around what, 30-ish or something, or close to. We're not quite there. And I'll tell you right, I am tired of waiting because this stuff is here and I want to give it away.
True.
So the first time that we are going to have an opportunity to have the headspace just to do it is we're going to just pick from who's there, right? So if you've been listening this far, you've heard the episodes, you put your submission in there. We're going to try to check for by the way, if you're in a different country, like Rika, we're able to find your review by toggling into a different country. So that was something tricky. Remember that? We had to go find, we had to toggle on Apple, like your review. So just so you know, as we get into that, we're going to be looking for all those different reviews, put your guys' names in a hat, and we're going to draw names out. We're going to,
and if you haven't entered yet, you can still do so right now. If you're listening to this episode,
the last week of March. The last week of March.
Okay, there we go. That's a good.
So I'm not doing this. I'm putting
2024, by the way. If you're like
2024, somebody's there in 2026, like putting my name in right now.
I mean, you can.
Please do, because we probably will have something in the future for you to give. We want to give away stuff. I like being able to send things to people. You know, I just like the idea of they get something from us and they're supporting us, and so we're gonna send them something for free. So it's just cool. Another way to connect.
Yes.
Anyway, so don't forget about that. Be coming up into that'll be our spring break. So you and I will have spring break. We'll have some headspace to do it. We'll film it and we'll send them out.
Sounds perfect.
Go.
Thank you so much, Bill. Let's dive right into our trivia training.
Okay.
And as I said, we have one question today. One teeny tiny question. And this is kind of sponsored by, not sponsored really, but the idea I got from watching a recent video by Trey, who is either I Am Black Harry or I think the Social Geeks on other platforms.
He and his wife,
he does that with his wife and his family, which is awesome. We love watching his videos. So I got that from one of the recent videos, and I thought, I wonder if you remember, because it's not exactly the same. So
okay.
As we are about to dive into Goblet of Fire, the question is, who was the campsite manager for Harry's group at the Quidditch World Cup, who was also later subject to humiliation by the Death Eaters?
The guy who sets them up, like they show up and he's sort of like under the, isn't he? Yeah, he's renting that space out.
Yes,
and
he's a muggle.
He's a muggle, right? And they keep having to come back over, and don't they have to keep kind of like messing with his mind a little bit?
Yes, they have to erase his mind quite a bit because wizards are not very careful around the muggles, and he starts wondering about certain things.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, I think that's not I don't know. What was that guy's name though? I always want to say Frank, just because Frank's the caretaker, and I'm just like any muggle that's out there, you know. Frank? I don't know. Was it Michael? Was it Michael?
No. Oh, sorry. We are looking for a last name, a Mr. So-and-so.
See, this is way off.
I don't think we know his first name. I think we just know Mr.
Mr. Smicklesmats.
No.
Mr. Smith.
No,
Ooh, good
no.
guess.
Well,
Good.
no, yeah, it's a pretty common name, but no, it's not Mr. Smith.
Codwell.
9.
Rogers.
Oh, we're getting close.
Does
Not Rogers.
it start with an R? What does it start with?
Hmm?
Oh, it does.
Yes.
Oh, see, I knew. My subconscious was
very,
like,
very similar
we're getting
to
close.
Rogers.
So Roger, Richard, what else? Randall, last names that start with R.
Yes.
Rod,
Mr. and Mrs.
Robertson.
No, Roberts. Yeah.
Okay,
Mr. and Mrs. Roberts.
That's what you guys heard me. I was saying it at the same time she was saying. I was like, Roberts, and she just blurted it out. I was trying.
You did well, though. I mean, I wouldn't have remembered it at all. I didn't even know. I didn't remember. Now that he said it, I kind of do. But I think in their video, she asked about the other campsite manager because there was 2, and Cedric and his dad went to the other one.
That's the one I was thinking about.
Yeah. Mr. Payne.
That's what I was saying.
Okay, and Mr. Roberts and his wife, they're the ones who are there. He is the campsite manager for Harry and his group, and they are getting humiliated later by Lucius and co.
Yeah, so to quote the comments in my most recent video, don't you guys read the books? You guys need to start reading the books. You guys have no clue what's going on. I gotta say, Trey does his wife. They get quite. I don't know how they get the questions and stuff, but he was on. I mean, he was on the what was it?
Trivia show.
The trivia show. Yeah, so huge. And the questions that he goes through, my goodness, there are some intense
good questions.
Colors of the sleeping bags was the one I remember from the other day. It was like during when they all have to go to sleep in the Great Hall, right? And the Hufflepuffs are having their slumber party. Let's go, slumber party!
Yeah.
And so that's from Puffs, the play,
yeah.
by the way. So they're in there, and I think it was like, what color were the sleeping bags? And I think he said purple. He wasn't sure, but it was either like purple in the movie but blue in the book, or vice versa. I can't remember.
Wow.
Blue or purple. And I was like, good guess. I mean, you know.
That is really good. I feel like
Purple's magical.
In the show, they asked a couple of like warm-up questions where everyone would go like, okay, that's not that hard. But then they did have
super
some really hard questions, as well as like little movie scenes they played, and then certain details. Like some of them were not that difficult, but yeah, they had a good mix. All I want to say is they had a good mix of questions. I don't know if I would, with training probably, but just on the fly, if they asked me, I would probably have to pass on some of them.
yeah, for sure. Now my turn though to ask you a couple questions.
Ooh,
you ready
okay.
for this?
Oh,
how the tables turn.
I just said that. I don't know if I can answer.
Yeah, exactly. Why did Barty Crouch Jr. quit drinking?
Junior.
Why did Barty Crouch Jr. quit drinking?
Wait, is that a joke?
Because it made him moody.
I knew it. That sounded like a joke.
Oh, it's pretty good, right? Because it made him moody. These are great. Sorry. I think they're so much fun. Last one here. How does Harry Potter get rid of a rash?
Wait, Harry Potter.
How does Harry Potter get rid of a rash?
Expelliarmus.
with Quit Itch.
Oh,
Oh my wizard
dang.
god. Come on.
That's actually funny.
Yeah.
Wait, didn't we come up with a joke the other day about something about Snape
What did we come up with?
and his spell?
Oh, Muffliato.
Oh, Muffliato. What was it?
Yeah,
Oh,
I don't know that it was great.
Oh yeah, something with a buzz.
I don't know if we want to
Something
share.
with a buzz. Okay, we don't want to share it. Never mind.
Well, yeah, yeah. Well, one of our jokes might not have been appropriate, so again, it's a PG podcast. But the other one might have been. By the way, it's PG-13 podcast too, just so you guys know. But something about a buzz. It creates a buzzing.
Okay.
In your ears.
Yeah.
So if you're in need of a buzz,
it does. Yeah.
Good old-fashioned Muffliato would do it for you. You know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to the Muffliato podcast, by the way. So.
Yeah, shout out. Let's go. Let's collab. What's up? Okay. Also, shout out to Trey. Great videos. Right. He's been getting, he's been getting a little argumentative, though. He's been getting real. He's been getting after people. Strong opinions.
Strong opinions. Yep.
Okay. All right. Moving on now. Time.
Oh, another question?
No, it's time to study some fantastical beast.
I wish I had some glasses to put on, so I'm in study mode.
Or you push them up from your nose, real, cute like
that. Yeah.
Real nerdy like.
By the way, talking about glasses, I don't wear glasses. Sorry, I'll get you started here in a second. I know you're waiting to learn about this.
Is this the episode where we just derail each other left and right and we just never get to the point on anything? How many times have we gone on a tangent this episode? Apologize. We're gonna call this the tangent episode or the great aside, where we just step aside and talk about something else that's not related. Apologies, I interrupted.
Yeah, because the chapter is so short, there's nothing to say anywhere. What's there to say, really?
Well, is this a filler episode, guys? Is this just a filler episode? You guys are just on here talking on the microphone. Okay, good.
Yeah, talking about glasses though, I never, thankfully, not yet. I mean, nothing against glasses. I think they can look really cool. I haven't had to wear them yet, but the only time when I wear glasses, or I wish I had glasses, was when I cut onions. Right. So what I do when I cut onions, trick and tip for everyone who doesn't wear glasses.
Yeah.
You just get your old sunglasses out. So I always look super cool when I cut.
You do.
Onions.
You look really cool.
It works.
It does work.
I know it's also partially like the smell that also triggers some of it, but for me it works really, really good. So fun fact on the side. That could be something that could be written in one of Lockhart's books.
What do you mean?
Conjure up some, if you want to cut some onion, conjure up.
Oh, you mean because he has all the household books?
Yes,
like all
his
the
household
books
for cooking and cleaning.
I was like, what? Lockhart's cutting onion? I don't think so. But he stole all those ideas from witches and wizards who did.
Yes, he did.
Come up with those clever things. Bless him. Still one of my favorite characters. Okay. Now let's get serious.
Oh, I can't move anything.
Okay. As in, let's get serious.
Yes, let's get serious.
Let's lock him back up in Azkaban.
Okay. Before we get serious, we get real serious with this beast over here, because this beast has a mom classification of 1, 2, 3, 4 X's, which means dangerous, requires specialist knowledge, skilled wizard may handle. Okay.
Dang, so only skilled wizards can handle this beast.
This beast is called the Erumpent. The Erumpent is a large, gray African beast of great power, and we all remember the Erumpent from Fantastic Beasts. Awesome. I love that scene. Weighing up to a ton, the Erumpent may be mistaken for you practice this, right?
Come on. Oh, you think I'm gonna help you now? I ain't gonna save you now. I ain't gonna save you now. My hands are warming up. On my ears. How do you say this word? Not a rhino. What is it?
Right. Rhinoceros.
Rhinoceros.
Good I said it. Okay. Rhinoceros.
Oh my goodness, that was so cute.
So you might mistake it for a rhinoceros at a distance. It has a thick hide that repels most charms and curses, a large sharp horn upon its nose, and a long rope-like tail. Erumpents give birth to only one calf at a time. Why was that funny?
Yeah, why is that funny?
Sounds like one half at a time. Sorry.
Oh wow.
Sorry. My
okay.
Too many directions. The Erumpent will not attack unless sorely provoked.
Sorely provoked. What's going on in your mind? What's wrong with you?
I'm just That's when you get so
Lottie's tired.
tired.
She's tired.
She's
She
just-
slapped. She is literally. This is like just in case you guys forgot the just in case episode. She just gets really. We should do more episodes during the week when you're
We
really
should.
slap happy.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know?
Okay, let me do that again.
Okay.
The erupent will not attack unless sorely provoked, but should it charge?
Should it charge?
Should it charge, the results are usually
What in the world?
catastrophic.
Yeah. Okay.
The erupent's horn.
She's falling apart, guys. She only can make it 27 minutes into this episode. Not even. Why is it so funny though?
Can you read it?
Yeah, I can read it. Here, give it to me. Look at this. I'm gonna bail her out. Oh, let me see. There's something. There must be a funny line here somewhere.
Tell me about the erumpent.
Okay, the erumpent will not attack unless sorely provoked. But should it charge, the results are usually catastrophic. The erumpent's horn can pierce everything from skin to metal and contains a deadly fluid which will cause whatever is injected with it to explode. You're honest. I mean, guys, let me just say, we didn't have White Claw. There's no giggle water in this house. Like, we're just literally sipping on some cold brew. And this young lady over here cannot.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
Unbelievable. Leave it to the German teacher over here to just like fall apart. Okay.
I'm good now.
Okay, good. Me too. We just had to get through the word explode. Okay. Erumpent numbers are not great as males frequently explode each other during the mating season. Okay. I thought we were done. They are treated with great caution by African wizards. Erumpent horns, tails, and the exploding fluid are all used in potions, though classified as Class B tradable materials. Dangerous and subject to strict control.
Pretty cool.
Pretty explosive.
Wow.
Pretty explosive.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Let me just transition us right out of that, which is, would you like to have an erumpent?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Oh gosh.
Hey,
Yes.
sorry, but the scene actually was pretty adorable with the
Yeah.
I mean, at any point in time, Jacob could have died, Newt could have died, because as we just learned, rampant horns, they are pretty
Pierce and
inject some
they inject fluids and you explode.
Yep.
So Jacob almost goner.
Yeah.
But so weird. So weird.
I think they're really cool, like if you watch them somewhere in the wild or in the zoo or
Oh,
somewhere.
for sure. Let them do their own thing.
right?
Yeah.
Study them. Like
They're
just
huge.
like elephants.
They're
but
huge.
They are.
Yeah.
So you gotta be really careful.
You gotta be really, yeah.
If you have one as a friend and you can, I don't know, the rumpet knows to be careful around you.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. I mean, just like Newt's. So,
Right.
Yeah. Thank you, Newt, for taking care of all these creatures who need some love.
Yeah. Yeah. And who have a lot of love to express.
Yeah.
So, okay.
All right.
All right, friends.
I was going to suggest to read this summary,
But
and I'm going to try my best.
Are you sure?
I can do it.
Are you sure?
You want to do it?
I'll do it. It's fine.
Okay.
Okay. Chapter 20, The Dementor's Kiss. The bizarre-looking group has just left the Shrieking Shack and is now making their way through the tunnel towards the Whomping Willow. Harry, Hermione, a limping Ron, chained to Pettigrew and Black, Professor Lupin, as well as an unconscious Snape drifting along are all following Crookshanks through the underground passage. They have quite a distance to walk, and as Harry is walking directly behind Sirius, the two awkwardly start a conversation. Sirius tells Harry what he already knows, that he was appointed by Lily and James to be his godfather, his guardian, and Sirius offers Harry to come and live with him once his name has been cleared. Only if he wants to, of course. Harry can't believe his ears. A chance to leave the Dursleys, to go live with another wizard, and not just any wizard, but his parents' best friend. He happily agrees to that. This makes Sirius smile for the first time, and Harry finally recognizes the joyful face he saw on his mom and dad's wedding photo. While they one by one climb out of the hole by the Whomping Willow, Harry's head is spinning with excitement. His life is going to change forever. He's going to leave the Dursleys for good. But then, something awful happens. A cloud shifts and the full moon is revealed. Lupin stops dead and the whole party comes to a halt. Sirius reacts quickly and tells the kids to run. Harry is confused, but Hermione understands the seriousness of the situation. Lupin had forgotten to take his potion. He is going to transform into a werewolf, and in a few minutes, no human will be safe around him. Unable to move, the three watch in horror. First, how Lupin transforms into an enormous, hairy wolf, and then how Sirius turns into a huge black dog. Sirius charges at Lupin, and the fight between the two giant beasts erupts. Harry watches the battle transfixed, but Hermione screams and pulls him out of his paralysis. He turns around and sees Pettigrew with Lupin's wand in his hand attacking Ron and Crookshanks. He quickly disarms Peter and demands him to stand still, but Peter is quicker. He's already transformed back into a rat, and Harry can only see his tail darting away from the group. Meanwhile, Lupin has hurt Sirius badly, and the werewolf starts running out of sight. Severely bleeding, Sirius chases after him, and Harry and Hermione are alone with an unconscious Snape and Ron who doesn't seem to respond. The two are trying to figure out what to do when they hear a dog yelping in the distance, and Harry takes off running. He runs towards Sirius, closely followed by Hermione. The two arrive at the shore of the lake and watch Sirius, who has turned back into a man, fall on his knees, whimpering and pleading. The air suddenly turns unnaturally cold, and when Harry and Hermione look up, they can see an army of Dementors gliding towards Sirius. Harry tries his best to fight the Dementors off with the Patronus charm and urges Hermione to do the same. But Hermione has never practiced the spell and is unable to support Harry. He can't do it alone. There are too many. One of them has come so close that Harry's mind becomes clouded and he can hear his mother's screams again. The Dementor pulls his hood back and reveals a terrifying face. It opens its mouth and a rattling sound emerges. Hermione has already fallen unconscious. Harry is desperately trying to summon his Patronus again, but the cold, damp hands grab Harry around the neck, tilting his face upward. He feels the foul breath of the Dementor draw nearer and nearer, his mother's screams getting louder and louder. Harry thinks it's going to be the last thing that he'll ever hear as he prepares for the Dementor to perform its kiss. However, at that moment, a growing silvery light breaks through the fog. Harry collapses onto the grass. The Dementor lets go. The dark creatures are fleeing from the spreading light that is warming the air and silencing the screams. They are being driven away by something that is circling around Harry, Sirius, and Hermione. Gathering his remaining strength, Harry slightly lifts his head, and the last thing that he sees is a luminous creature galloping across the lake towards a person, a very familiar-looking person. Confused and exhausted, Harry is unable to comprehend what is happening. And then he faints, his head hitting the ground.
I remember this last scene. When I first read the book, it was so cool because I totally thought James had come back. Later on, Harry tells us who he thinks conjured up that amazing Patronus. Because he hasn't done it yet.
Right.
I mean, he has in that moment. Here we go. Paradox of the time traveling. Because that's what gives him the confidence later on. I've already done it. But I just remember, I don't remember that much from reading the book for the first time. But this is one thing. I definitely remember this part where I thought, oh my gosh, they're going to bring, because we've seen all the marauders in this book. Somehow he's going to bring James back. And you can argue he kind of did.
Sure.
Prongs was there. So
right.
Yeah, I love that. That scene is a little different here. In the movie, we only see Sirius and Harry, but Hermione's there too. And we'll talk later about Hermione and her role in this whole thing, of course.
Yeah.
But we start off this chapter, a very short chapter actually, but a lot of things happening. And that's why the summary is still pretty long. Harry and Sirius, when they leave the Shrieking Shack and that really awkward group, right? All they're trying to do is get Peter to the castle so they can tell the truth, show everybody this is Peter Pettigrew. He's still alive. He lied to everyone. He's the actual murderer.
Yeah.
Or not murderer, sorry, but the actual spy who told on the Potters. And actually, well, he is a murderer to some muggles, which is awful.
Right.
But I find it quite interesting the conversation that Harry and Sirius have on that hour-long walk back through the tunnel. And just moments ago, Harry learned that Black is not a mass murderer, but an innocent man
Mm-hmm.
and his parents' friend.
Right.
And he's directly asked by Sirius or by Black to come live with him. Harry is asked by Sirius to come live with him. And Harry just, I mean, to be really honest, as a teenager, he's just like anything to leave the Dursleys, man.
Yeah.
You a mass murderer? Kind of, not really, but hey, cool. I don't want to live with him.
That's crazy.
In that
That's
moment,
crazy.
I feel like in the movie they did it way more emotionally attached to the fact that this is, I mean, he does say a little bit about, oh, he's his parents' best friend. That's so cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
But the way he responds, really his first thought is, oh my gosh, I can leave the Dursleys. I don't have to go back there.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, for sure. I think that's a big motivating factor. It's also, yeah, right. That's the first thought. And the second thought is this is my, dad's best mate.
Yes, and from Sirius' perspective, I think for him, Harry looks so much like James that it really would mean a lot to him. And it's kind of heartbreaking that this is never going to happen, really. Like,
Yeah.
Harry's so happy. I think really it's life changing for him to the thought outside of Hogwarts, you're good. You're living with a wizard. You don't, because for him, he always leaves the wizarding world behind. He
Mm-hmm.
has to
Yeah.
live in the Muggle world,
Right.
and that's not his home.
Right.
And that would mean he would never have to leave the wizarding world.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's rough. I mean, it is. Yeah, it is interesting how quickly he is all of a sudden like, yeah, hey, sure, are you serious? Let's go, right? And yeah, I'm serious. I'm serious.
Yeah.
Black. Let's go. Come on. So it is something. I mean, I think it's in his mind for most of this year. He didn't even know who Sirius Black was before the year
Exactly.
starts.
Yeah.
So then he finds out about all of this. It's super crazy, super emotional. And then by the end, he realizes like, okay, I was wrong about that. I think had he believed that Black was this person and he blamed him for 12 plus years, whatever, that he had learned about the lore and the story.
Yeah.
He and the hatred would have built
over
up for
the
him.
years. Yeah.
It would have been a lot harder for him to kind of accept the truth,
Yeah.
That sometimes is the case
yeah.
for people. And
Yeah.
this is like, okay, he learned it, before Christmas or whatever time it was that this guy is responsible for his parents' death. And then now you have a person you trust, Remus, and you have Sirius there kind of saying, hey, yes, I'm responsible, but not in the way that you think.
Right. And you saw proof, like you saw Peter Pettigrew is still there. And
right.
It all makes sense. Yeah.
Speaking of Peter Pettigrew, you guys now, here's how I've been. I know, mark your spot in your notes so you can come back to it, okay? I just want to point out something that might be kind of ridiculous, but when they're in the Shrieking Shack, Peter's revealed, okay? He's there. He alone, just existing, is proof that Black is innocent. If there were ever a time for a wizard or a witch to have a cell phone and snap a photo, do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
That would clear everything up.
True.
Everyone's like, well, this is in the 90s. This is in the 90s. All right, fine. But I mean, come on. That would
Where
have
is
been
Colin Creevy when you need him?
Gosh, get that guy in. Yeah, literally. He's the guy snapping photos.
Yeah.
I mean, we needed him out there to document this, but
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of funny because that's all it would have taken.
I know.
One photo, and then
selfie
now
with Peter.
there's an investigation here. Because actually all Cornelius Fudge needs is somebody to blame. And so when there is no Peter Pettigrew and you can't, bring me somebody else to question, and I can't sub him in to take the punishment or to make a headline in the Daily Prophet, that's got to go back to Black. The story needs to continue for Fudge to be all as well. I have this under control.
Yeah.
We're going to mark it as Sirius Black. Anything that's bad, we're going to chalk it up to him. That all would have switched to Pettigrew. I mean, one picture, one bit of evidence that says he's out there on the loose. We wouldn't be talking about Voldemort still because Cornelius Fudge can't do that. But we would have been talking about Peter Pettigrew, the mass murderer. And Sirius Black from this noble house is, all right, he's back again. We're good, right?
True.
I mean, it would have been such a change. There still would have been a chance for Voldemort to return, but like we just needed one photo. And Sirius is good.
Right. Yeah. I mean, talking about the wizarding world being behind and being still somewhere in the, I don't know what ages, medieval, not really. I mean, I think Filch still lives in the medieval age, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes, he
somewhere
does.
stuck in the Victorian era, I don't know,
Yeah.
with their technology because they don't need it. I mean, they use magic for
No.
the technology we have now as muggles, but
Right.
sometimes,
They
I mean,
probably
if
know it's detrimental in some way to us, you know?
maybe they do, because you were pointing out the things that the ministry, or like that we could, what we could do with cell phones. Well, the ministry relies on, they said owls are terrible, right? The all the
Pellets.
pellets, yes, that owls drop,
Mhm.
and feathers and whatnot. They now have the memos flying around, which is
Yeah.
fine, but still, it takes so much longer to send a memo like that
Right.
versus just a text message or email.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, but I get it. Like they're traditionalists, right? I mean, this whole world is kind of run by old wizarding families. We see one
True.
example
True.
is Lucius Malfoy. Look at his influence in the ministry, and
Right.
he's
Right.
probably not the only one.
Yeah.
If the
Yeah. I
blacks were
mean,
still around and not
right.
gone to the dark side, then
Yeah.
they would probably have a lot of influence in the ministry, I think.
Right, for sure. Yeah, I know there's some sort of political stuff later on with like
Mhm.
Spew and stuff, and Hermione and J.K. Rowling trying to do some things there too in terms of being progressive, but also
Right.
like pushing that on a group of people that don't want it, etc. You know, there's some of that.
Yeah.
We'll get to that later on,
Yeah.
and I don't really remember it that well, so we'll have to
True. True.
figure it
That's
out. But
yeah.
that is something that it's this world is sort of dominated by those older wizarding families, and
Yeah.
that's an issue because you've got these progressive wizards who are like Arthur Weasley, who is like, hey, I'm from like a family like that, but I'm also like, I love Hermione, I love
Yeah.
Muggles, and I want to know more about them, and he's working in that branch of
Yeah.
the department. So just interesting.
But also, like you were saying, okay, let's just snap a photo and the issue would be resolved. There is air quote technologies, ways, spells to prove certain things. To see,
Yeah.
like a photo is nothing but, a memory. Well, we have memories in the heads of 1, 2, 3, 5 people now.
Yeah, I know, and that was so they're going later on. We'll get to that part where they're gonna go right forward with this is called the Dementor's Kiss, which is essentially being performed at the end of this. Harry's future self or whatever rescues them from the Dementor's kiss, but
Right.
it's being performed here. And we know later on that Fudge and those guys are not going to waste any time, and we're gonna be done with Sirius Black. He's not going to have a chance to testify, share his side of the story. The kids are sort of cast off as deranged and befuddled and whatnot. So
Mm.
hoodwinked or whatever they're called. Yeah. So
I was wondering what happened to Peter's wand.
oh boy.
He didn't have one here because he lost it 12 years ago, but what happened there?
Mhm.
He cast his spell behind his back, then transformed into a rat. So no one investigated, and they did. They just thought, okay, Peter's dead and his wand is just on the floor. Okay, makes sense. Peter was killed by Sirius to such an extent that they only found a finger, but his wand was still on the floor. So
Oh, hold on a second.
they
Hold
could
on.
have used that wand to investigate what was the
They
last spell.
could have investigated
Mhm.
both Sirius Black's wand
Yes, sir.
and Pettigrew's wand to determine who created the blast.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
Yeah.
you have witnesses that are just testifying. It's a time of crisis, so they rush through all this stuff. And you had Barty
Yeah.
Crouch, who was like, no trial, send him straight to Azkaban, no question. He's he's related to the noble house of Black.
Mhm.
Dark side, we kind of thought all along. Poor Peter
Yeah.
Pettigrew, and even Dumbledore is like, yeah, well, I mean, he was supposed to be their secret keeper,
Right. And he
and
didn't act like an innocent man. That's
no,
what Dumbledore
true,
says.
true, he did not.
Well,
So
because he didn't feel like an innocent man.
right,
Because
yeah,
yeah, you did a whole short about it.
true, I did.
Why did Sirius make Peter switch to, or why did he make the Potter switch to Peter?
Right.
So check that out.
Check it out and why. Check it out and why. It hits hard at the end. Sorry about that.
It does. So, real quick before we move on to Remus's transformation, I have a question for you.
Okay.
About Harry moving to Sirius. Had the end of Prisoner not really happened and Sirius would have been freed, would Dumbledore have let Harry leave the Dursleys to live with Sirius despite knowing, of the
Bond of Blood charm?
the spell, yes, the the charm
Right.
that protects Harry while he's at the Dursleys' house?
So that's a great question. I mean, would Dumbledore allow Harry to leave the Dursleys to live with Sirius Black and forego all those protections that he set up that
Yeah.
are all tied back to Lily's sacrifice? I don't know. I think at this point he would have to explain to Harry
Yeah.
more of that blood magic and what is going on, because he does cast that protection early on, and there's a reason he has to stay. So he needs to make that clear that he's protected there.
Mm.
And sort of, yeah, I mean that should just be obvious. I think Dumbledore doesn't want to worry Harry, and a lot of times he doesn't want to concern him, like, hey, it's all good, you just go there, do your
Yeah.
thing. But now when there's an option, there's a choice, and even Sirius Black, if he's not, like, if he is allowed to go free, this is hypothetical, if he's allowed to go free, then would it be, yeah, you'd have to like let Sirius know as well, hey, here's the protections that I set up. So unless we can protect Grimmauld Place as
Mhm.
well as we can Aunt Petunia's Privet Drive,
Yeah.
then it's a no-go.
Right.
No-go. I mean, like, because you still have now Pettigrew out on the run, okay? And you have other Death Eaters. We've already seen the Chamber of Secrets has been opened, right? Someone, probably Lucius Malfoy, and I think Dumbledore knows that, sent that in. Interesting.
Right.
So
Right.
you still have agents of the Dark Lord working, and if there were a chance to get a hold of the boy who lived and to take him down, I think they would. So that's where you got to be careful if you're Dumbledore, and you can't just say, yeah, Harry, no problem, right? Sirius is running free. His name has been cleared. Go live with him. No. He set up all these protections at Aunt Petunia's house, so you got to go there. Your mother. This is and explaining, I think, the significance between this being a part of Lily's sacrifice, and that is the protection that is carrying over through Aunt Petunia. It actually might soften Harry a little bit. It might even mend some brokenness between Aunt Petunia and Harry. The fact that conversation never really comes up between them, and it sucks, because I feel like it would help. But Dumbledore doesn't think about things like that. So it's just, no, this is he's more businesslike. Like, he's also trying to, he says that, like, throughout the series, he realizes that Harry, as he grows as a person, is sort of like, he grew to love Harry. And so the older he gets, he's like, wow, what a good kid.
Yeah.
Such a good kid. And he's
turned out so much better than he could ever imagine.
Right. He's always Dumbledore's thinking of his youth and his shortcomings.
Yeah.
And sometimes he applies that to Harry. And Harry just keeps sort of impressing him with the caliber of person that he is.
Yeah.
So in this conversation, Harry is mature enough to hear there's a reason why you need to stay at Aunt Petunia's. He kind of has hinted at that before, but just having an explicit conversation about the magic that was done there is huge. And I wonder if Dumbledore is just also cautious about sharing that because he thinks a Death Eater or somebody else might find out, and there's a way to circumvent that protection. So sometimes the best protections are just like, if nobody knows, it's secret.
Exactly. It's something Voldemort doesn't know.
Right.
He doesn't understand it. He doesn't know all the love, bonding, protection, charm things.
Yes. But any of his followers, if they were to figure out that, like, okay, the best way to get him is on his way there or in transit, like, where is Harry Potter most vulnerable? That's what they might start to kind of inquire more on. Anyway. Yeah. So
you're saying it. No, he wouldn't. Yeah. Same. I think, unfortunately, he would have explained to them, hey, you can visit for a little bit, just like you visit the Weasleys sometimes for a week or two, but you can't go there for the whole summer.
Right.
Yeah. So it makes me feel a little bit better about the whole thing not becoming true. I mean, not really, because Sirius's fate is pretty sad too.
Great question for a short, though. I think I might actually take that, and it's a hypothetical, right?
Yes.
If Sirius is freed, if he is allowed to go, his name has been cleared, would Dumbledore allow him to live at Grimmauld Place and not Privet Drive? Long hook, but I think it'll work.
Yes.
Okay.
Sounds good. Another thing that doesn't quite make sense in this whole setup with Remus being a werewolf, and everything happens because of Remus, right? That's why they become animagi. That's why Peter is able to hide for so long and is able to run away just in a few seconds from now,
Right.
is they leave the tunnel. So the whole group they're leaving the tunnel, and all of a sudden a cloud shifts and they're bathed in moonlight. And it might just be a coincidence, but it doesn't sound like it, because the cloud shifts and then all of a sudden Remus transforms at that moment. Or I mean, it seems like the transformation is triggered by moonlight, by the full moon. But then the whole time you would wonder why, if that's the case, why would Remus even need the potion and protection? And because he says for the last couple of months at Hogwarts, all he's been doing every month when the full moon comes around, he would just curl up in his office as his little wolf form. And because of the potion, the symptoms are way milder. He can just be in there. He's not hurting anyone or anything, not even himself. Cool, but he still transforms. So why wouldn't he just, if that's the moonlight triggering him, just avoid going outside during the full moon, or going near a window where the moonlight could show?
Yeah, so it's kind of what you're alluding to is it's a little bit of an inconsistency. Like,
Yeah,
is
I
it
guess
just when the
so.
moon has risen, even if it's covered in by clouds and we can't see it, is he still turning into a werewolf in his office? Versus here,
Yeah.
he should have already turned then in the tunnel /
Yeah.
back in the Shrieking Shack.
Yeah.
If it's just the fact that the moon has risen and it's full and it's just that time of
Right.
month, right? So what this chapter, or what we learn, is that it's actually being bathed in the moonlight, and the movie does it as well too. So they come out of there,
Yes.
the clouds move, and he's hit with the moonlight, and he turns.
Yes.
And I would just ask everyone out there that when you walk outside and you see a full moon, right? Don't you? Oh,
Don't you get that urge?
I mean, right? I do. I know I do. Now, if I don't see it, I don't know it. I might feel it in my bones.
Yeah.
I might feel it,
Yeah.
just somewhere. Feel it, and I can feel it on my shoulders.
Okay, let's think about this. So
But yeah, sorry.
they saw him, Harry, later on in the next chapter when they go back in time. There is a moment when Harry and Hermione watch Lupin follow them through the tunnel, which from their perspective this time around they couldn't see that, but now they watch him, and it's explicitly described that there were thick clouds covering the moon during that time. So to get that in that moment, he can't transform because the moon is covered.
Oh, you mean so? But when Lupin, so you're saying the moon has already risen by the time he exits the castle? It says that in the chapter. Because what I was just going to bring up is that the path from the Whomping Willow all the way back to the Shrieking Shack is an hour. They say it takes about an hour.
Yes, in the tunnel. Yeah.
In the tunnel, walking an hour.
Right.
First of all,
That's
guys, wow, come on now. That's a long way. So anyway, some people are like, Ez, come on, get in shape. Like, get after it, right? But they're crouched over, and it's just a long passageway that goes off of the map. So there is time. I felt like before a couple chapters back, when we're going into this, they're outside in daylight when they believe Buckbeak is executed.
Yes.
And so that's
this is
when
explained too. Yeah.
Right. That's when, so we did, for sure. It's like, it's dusk and maybe the sun is setting, but there's at least enough to see, and the moon hasn't risen yet. So,
yeah.
I mean, I don't know, but how long? So an hour later, so when they go in there, and it's an hour of them sort of going through the passageway, and I think there's enough time for the moon to come out and do its thing. So
he's explaining.
I love it though. You're looking for these little plot holes, little inconsistencies to try to figure out what's going on, because it could just be that
it could
if the
speed
moon's
it up.
Covered, it's fine.
It could speed it up. The only way
it could just speed the transformation up.
Yeah, like you said,
if you're hit directly.
Yes, if the moonlight hits you directly, like you said, you can feel it in your bones, kind of. But if you look at it directly, maybe it triggers it right away. Whereas it would be slower if you were just inside, but it wouldn't prevent it even if you avoid it.
Sorry, I'm just.
Okay.
Has anybody ever done just a big old like wolf cry to the moon? Just kind of, man, my neighbor had a husky dog, and anytime, I mean, goodness gracious, talk about being scared as a kid. Like the window would be open, I mean, the wind be blowing through, and we would just hear the husky let loose, and I'm like, oh my gosh, something's going down. Anyway, okay. Go. Yes. Well, you looking for something?
I thought I found it, but okay. Okay. It says, they watched the four men climb the castle's steps and disappear from view. So this was the ministry people after they just had rescued Buckbeak. For a few minutes, the scene was deserted. Then, here comes Lupin, said Harry as they saw another figure sprinting down the stone steps and hurrying toward the willow. Harry looked up at the sky. Clouds were obscuring the moon completely.
Well,
They watched Lupin seize a broken branch and so on.
Cool. So I think you're right. It's just the fact that he's going to turn later tonight, whether the moon hits him or not, perhaps. But it's if he gets hit with those.
Yeah. Because otherwise, there's no need for the potion. There's no need for this whole, oh my gosh, he's a werewolf.
Right. Just stay out of the. Yeah. You just stay inside and you be a good little werewolf, okay? You just
I know. Can you imagine like a little wolf just curled up in his office, just sleeping it out?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, sorry. Okay. I was going to say something inappropriate, but I won't. All
right. Something I really admired was Sirius in that moment. So when they see the cloud shift and Hermione knows right away, Sirius knows right away, they understand, oh, this means Lupin is going to transform. Sirius knows he needs to protect Harry at all costs and the others. And he has no time to think about Peter in that moment. Peter, for him, is his freedom. Getting Peter to the castle for him means being free from all the charges.
True.
But in this moment, he doesn't think about that. He thinks about the protection of the kids and Harry first. So I think that's really cool. That's the cool. Gryffindor in him. It's
right. Not thinking about himself. He's just thinking about protecting Harry and so on.
Yeah. And then something interesting happens. Peter gets the wand, one of the wands, and he attacks Ron. We don't know what he does to Ron, but
he didn't kill him.
He did not kill him.
And he didn't try to, I mean, like, because at this point, he's facing possibly the Dementor's kiss.
Exactly.
So it's almost like you don't want to mess around here. So you've either got to be really good, really efficient, really powerful, and he does something, and you think it is.
I don't know. What did I say?
I think you think that there's a soft spot for Ron.
Oh yeah, that's what. Yes. So I thought you were asking me about the spell he used, but yes,
I want to know the specific spell you think he used.
No, he just kind of, I don't know, stunned him or something. Ron didn't move, but he didn't kill him, and I think that's because he spent so many years with Ron.
Yeah,
I don't think he wanted to kill him.
Right. Yep.
And then something he's doing with Crookshanks, you would think he would just ruthlessly kill Crookshanks because Crookshanks been on his toes. No.
Crookshanks,
was trying to get him.
Oh, was on his tail.
On his tail.
He was on his tail. Crookshanks was on his toes, you guys. He was on his
toes must be so big that they can be seen in a little photo in the Daily Prophet. So Scabbers got some big toes. Crookshanks was on his tail this whole year and trying to, either get him to Sirius or eat him. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
he knew he was a bad rat.
You would think he would just kill Crookshanks, but he didn't either. He just threw him in the air.
Crookshanks is a magical cat, and I don't. So actually,
he has 9 lives.
He has 9 lives, so he may have used up one right there. Shot him up in the air, and Crookshanks said, "Blink, 1 life done. I'm stepping in the next one. Worth it."
Yeah.
To face down Peter Pettigrew, but yeah, because he doesn't. He could have done a lot worse things to the cat, and he doesn't, or he tried to. And Aneasel has some special protections. I wouldn't be surprised if old Newt Scamander, if Newt Scamander could tell us a few things about the Aneasel that we don't know. Even it's not in his book, side notes, unconfirmed things. But yeah, I mean, it was interesting because they couldn't tell what happened to Ron. Ron was like he was like there, but unconscious, non-responsive, sort of.
Yeah,
but he was still. Like they could tell he was breathing and alive.
They never had the stunning spell in school yet, so it might have been.
Could have just been that
stunning spell.
Yep, could have just been stupefy.
Yeah. One thing to note though, it was definitely silent, wordless magic, whatever you call it.
Nonverbal.
Mm-hmm. Thanks. Some Latin here. Yeah. Sorry, I should know. Nonverbal magic. So props to Peter. He
Mhm.
did all that non-verbally. Um, and Peter sees his chance. That's his chance to escape. He transforms back into a rat and says bye bye, like in the
Bye.
movie. Just like see
Bye.
ya.
See ya.
um, and I want to talk a little bit about Remus in all of this. And I wouldn't blame Remus. And this is a bit of a heartbreaker too. Later on, he often seems depressed. He often has a lot of feelings of guilt,
Mhm.
even when that, especially when it comes to his relationship later with Tonks.
Yeah.
He almost leaves her because he feels too guilty.
Mhm. Mhm.
That is, by the way, so like really heartbreaking to me because it's not because he doesn't love her, it's because he loves her so much. He thinks he's not good for her.
Mhm.
And like these feelings of guilt, um well, he does play a huge role in all of this, and him being a werewolf, that's why Peter becomes an animagus, right?
Yep.
Because of him. And also in tonight, in this chapter, he was the one who forgot to take his potion. And that's why he turns into a werewolf, and this gave Peter again the chance or distraction he needed to escape, to return to his master and
Mhm.
essentially bring Voldemort back to life.
Mhm.
Okay, so what I'm saying is this is really awful things happening to Remus. I wouldn't blame him if I was in his position. I just don't blame him feeling that guilt.
Mhm.
But that is not, I'm not
Mm.
saying he's guilty. I'm just
Heck no.
empathetic
Yeah. Both. Yeah.
with him feeling
Yeah. He's in a
like, oh, what
situation.
if I just taken my potion that night?
Mhm.
This all wouldn't have happened.
Right.
But
Can't do that
there's
to yourself.
no, you can't do that. There's things we can't control, mistakes we make that we had no idea what the outcomes would be.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, there is so many things that could have led to Peter returning to Voldemort, and there's other factors like Snape showing up. You said that Snape
Mhm.
showing up.
Mhm.
Had Snape not interfered,
Yep.
maybe that wouldn't have happened either. Harry's decision plays a huge role in it. He said, "Don't kill Peter,
Right.
but give him to the put him back in Azkaban." Right?
Right. Right. Right.
That teaches us really, like, sometimes when we blame ourselves, we don't see the full picture. There's
Right.
so many circumstances that we don't know of, um,
Yeah, because
that
you
can
just
lead to
listed.
certain consequences. Yeah.
Yeah. You just listed like, a couple things, and you could go all the way
Mm.
back to Remus being a young boy and
Mhm.
being bitten, right? He's an innocent.
Right. He
And
is.
so this is none of this is his fault that he
No.
that he was attacked and that he now is a werewolf. And then he's sort of has, I mean, I go all the way back there, and like maybe he has like a good job somewhere, and he's not
Right.
accepting the cursed defense against the dark arts job that
Right.
Dumbledore is offering him because he's a werewolf and he can't get anybody else to take the job. You know what
Exactly.
I mean?
Yeah.
So you can go in all sorts of different directions. And I hate when people, it's hard not to do. And
Yeah.
I do understand why people do it
Mhm.
sometimes, because a tragedy happens because they, got in a fight with somebody, they left, and then something happened, or whatever, or just they forgot to do something, forgetfulness, whatever. A mistake is made, or even just you told, it could be anything, any decision that you make that then all of a sudden, like, oh, you start to second guess, well, what if I would have said, hey,
Yeah.
stay here, don't go there, do what, whatever it is. Like, we just can't, there's too many of those.
Yeah.
And so, but you're right, I do think he does blame himself a
Yeah.
lot, because from this he thinks back, and I didn't take my potion. Now
Mhm.
it's out that I'm a werewolf. Peter Pettigrew's gone. My friend now is like Lord Voldemort's coming back, and then now my friend Sirius Black, he's still a wanted man, and the list goes on, right? And
Right.
so he's
Yeah.
distraught. Oh yeah, and it goes all the way back to they planted the Whomping Willow, the
Yeah.
shack for him, and they did all this stuff for him. He just feels unworthy of all of
Yeah.
it, and doesn't know how to kind of really, repay
Exactly.
people for that. So
But my theory is, yeah, even had Peter not made it like the escape right now, Voldemort would have still returned somehow. So yes,
yeah, for
it
sure,
seems like
for
right
sure.
now that's the only scenario we know is Peter returns to him and brings him back to, or helps him
Mhm.
do all the magic he needs to come back to a physical
Right, right.
existence, right? But
But he would have figured it out. There would have been
yeah,
another way. There would have been another follower,
another person who
or
just
yeah.
like Quirrell, someone like that.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right, man. the more, I mean, the more we read this book, the more you just want something more about the Marauders. Something, this we need some more backstory about these characters for sure.
Agreed.
The next thing, though, I want to ask for this chapter, I want to ask you, what do you think when they go back to the lake, or not back to the lake, when they go down to the lake, Sirius encounters all these Dementors who have been hunting and haunting him for this past year, trying to catch him.
Yeah.
And he was able to defy them, or not defy, but evade them.
Yep.
For a whole year as a dog.
Yeah.
Why in this moment do you think did Sirius turn back into a man when the Dementors came? Why did they feel him, see him? They can't see. Why did they know it was him?
Yeah, I think it's probably because he's injured. That's the main thing. I think it's just because of the injury. I mean, it could possibly, right? Because Remus and him are in a fight. He's bleeding.
Yeah, he has a deep wound.
Yeah, and so he's running off. So the idea, I wonder if you're in your Animagus form, can you heal better if you switch back to your human form?
Okay.
Is that more natural, and therefore that leans into the light and healing, and
Could be.
kind of feels like it might be something, or are there more protections being in your Animagus form? Because again, you go to that form to fight a werewolf. That's exactly what he did. Which is interesting too, by the way, that Sirius didn't just say, "Give me your wand, and I'm going to take this werewolf out."
Yeah.
How do you fight a werewolf with a wand?
Right.
Can you? Is it like what?
You know what I feel like? It's mentioned when we actually talked about the Erumpin today.
Yeah, yeah.
It also says it defers a lot of spells. And look at Hagrid being a giant.
Yeah, yeah.
Hagrid's spells don't work the same way on him sometimes.
Right. He's got giant blood.
So I feel
werewolf blood.
Yeah.
Interesting. Does that mean then that like Bill Weasley and Lupin are more resistant to offensive magic? Even though, because they're,
I would say yes.
I would say yes if that's the case. Because I'm just wondering why Sirius doesn't pull out that, hey, give me a wand.
Yeah.
And I'm going to stun him, or I'm going to do something else to this werewolf.
I think that's exactly why people are afraid of werewolves. They can't just do that.
They can't do it. The wizarding community is still largely terrified by them, and they're outcasts. So interesting. Yeah. So I think Sirius does change back to his human form for some sort. Either maybe you need to continue to maintain consciousness and keep maybe he fainted for a second due to the fight, or blacked out and then comes back to, and he's in his human form. Perhaps, not sure. How much do you have to focus on keeping yourself in that form?
Yeah,
it doesn't seem to be. It seems like it could be a switch that once you flip it, you're good and you can coast and stay there, because Peter does for 12 years.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
and I mean, this whole year he did. Sirius probably didn't turn back for a whole year. Yeah. Yeah. So, good point. Okay. Yeah, I guess that's probably it. And there is also a huge number of Dementors, so it's hard. We see he's whimpering, he's pleading, he's seeing something just like Harry does. I wonder, we don't want to go too deep into this, but Sirius probably sees some really dark stuff too when the Dementors come near him.
Yep.
Yeah. And Harry, bless Harry, he is trying so hard to fight all the Dementors. And you could think, just seeing hundreds of Dementors, he would be like, oh, okay, I can't do it. He tries anyway.
Yeah.
He begs Hermione to try. He fights for his dad's best friend. He fights for his freedom because he thinks Sirius, he can live with Sirius, and Sirius is innocent.
A new life. Yeah.
Yes, a new life for Sirius' innocence, and for himself and Hermione too. And it's interesting to me, he begs Hermione, please help me. But Hermione, the Patronus charm is so advanced that even Hermione cannot learn the Patronus charm just on the spot.
No, especially right there in that
panicking,
pressure moment.
Right? And she passes out. Yeah. And I marked this down as one of the few moments where Hermione and her brilliancy can't really help Harry. Yeah. And a lot of, actually, I take that back. We see Hermione often getting a panicky moment, right? In that at the beginning of the series, at least. Later on, less of that, for sure. I feel like she learns and she grows beyond that, because go back to book 1, where it's the troll. And also the what's the plant? Oh goodness.
Devil's Snare?
Yes, the devil's snare. And she freaks out for a second and doesn't know what to do.
Yeah, just for a second. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, no, I think you're right. There's a few times where then this sort of yeah, this happens, and by the end of the series, she's clutch. She
Yeah.
already is pretty clutch here, anyways. And in this
Mhm.
situation, you're asking the impossible. I mean, he
Yes.
trained and trained and trained. He's powerful. This was important to him.
Yeah.
This had to do with his parents, hearing his mother
Mhm.
scream, all those things. So it
Yeah.
was really something that was intimate to Harry,
True.
and
Yeah.
that's the only reason I think he was a great teacher.
Mhm.
And it was this personal attack that he was under. So he was willing to put in the effort to learn the Patronus
Yes.
charm way earlier than he was scheduled
Exactly. And
So-
he's able to teach in his 5th year other kids that are his
Mhm.
age to use the Patronus.
to. Yeah, I think some witches and wizards they become excellent at certain spells, right?
Mhm.
They can master them and use them and find even different uses and ways for them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Like Lockhart.
absolutely, absolutely, like Lockhart.
I mean, he's an
yeah.
expert, in his field.
He
So
is. Yeah.
memory charms.
Yeah. Jinx.
Ah,
Wow, gotcha. Okay, yeah, so great. But yeah, that was a tough moment there at the end where he's trying, and then boom, what he was trying to do ends up working. It ends up working
yes.
actually, but it wasn't him. But it was
But it was him.
him.
Yes.
So
Which is so awesome. I think this plot twist I love it. It's so
Yeah.
cool because, and we'll talk about this in the next chapter when we actually go back in time, that it's him and he had the confidence because he already did it.
Yeah.
Plus, he thought it was his dad, and then it wasn't because it was him, but it's also his dad. It's brilliant to
yeah,
me.
yeah,
Because it's Prongs. His Patronus is Prongs.
right.
He had already seen his Patronus in the dream, remember?
Mhm.
In this book, he had a
Mhm.
dream about the hoofs and the Patronus.
Absolutely.
And he always saw Prongs in
Yep.
the dream. It's amazing to me. And
It's cool.
It really underlines this whole concept of it's already there.
Yes.
We're kind of confined in this time space
Right.
scenario, but
everything that we're seeking is already here.
it's already here.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh.
And it's within
Yeah.
each of us, and it's within Harry.
Yeah.
And so that
I
is
love
cool.
this.
It is a cool because the spirit of his father is there and does rescue them in a
Yeah.
way. That Patronus spirit, this boom,
Yes.
shows up in his dreams, and it's
I
been there, and now
yeah.
he'll learn how to access it, and it's great.
I love the concept of the Patronus and the stack, the Patronus animals. They look so cool, and it's one of your profile pictures is
Yeah.
the Patronus. So
Expecto Patronum. I actually intentionally sometimes like to mess it up. You hear me around the house all the time, right?
yes,
Expecto Patronum.
I don't know where you got that from.
I don't actually. I can tell you.
Okay.
Shout out to one of my old buddies. And it was actually kind of funny. So when Swish and Flick started, and Tiffany and that whole group was doing their thing, it was probably a passive aggressive way of like, if you don't know something about something else, and then you see these people getting really successful, and you're kind of like, I'm just gonna just a kind of like, I'm gonna make a like an offhanded, laughy kind of dig or whatever. So my old co-host, bless him, if he's listening, by the way, hey, what's up, Mike? Shout out. I doubt it. Buried deep in a podcast, you'd never hear it. But I heard him say that at one point. It was hilarious. He was talking about Swish and Flick, and I think he was talking about Tiffany or whatever. And he had seen like a snippet of the movie, and out of nowhere, he's like, "Expecto Patrono," and he's just always he messed up, I think, every spell that there was to mess up, and I was like, that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, there's that. Okay, hello.
I just needed to stretch up.
Hello. Wow. In case you were wondering how close we're sitting, it's about a leg's length away.
Sorry.
Okay? Long legs. Okay.
Let's get into the owl post of the week. And we got a lovely snowy owl coming in last week. Jack wrote us a really nice email, and I asked him if I could include this because it was really heartwarming. And thanks so much, Jack. This really shows how long Ez has been podcasting, and people have been listening.
Yeah.
So Thanks, Jack, for this. Here we go. Hi, Ez and Lottie. I'm listening to the latest episode of Shell Cottage, and I agree with Ez. I would never know that Lottie is not a native speaker if I weren't a longtime listener. Speaking of being a longtime listener, to answer Ezra's question about how long he's been podcasting, I think his first podcast was Rebel Watch. However, I first discovered Ezra's podcasting in the spring of 2019 through Bend the Knee. Bend the Knee was doing multiple episodes a week to get ready for the final season of Game of Thrones, and listening to the podcast amplified the already extremely exciting time for Game of Thrones fans. That podcast led me to discovering Ezra's other project, an unexpected podcast, and I was quickly binging every episode. A few months later, it was summertime, and I was listening to Ezra's new podcast, Hyperspace Hangout, which reignited my interest in Star Wars. And not too long after that, I was listening to Ezra's Hero of the Horror podcast at the start of 2020.
Dang.
Fast forward to the spring of 21, and I was listening to Shell Cottage Radio, and then in the fall 2022, Star Wars Hangout, now called the Extended Edition. I have no idea how Ez, and now also Lottie, has been able to produce not only a high volume of episodes, but also consistently high quality and all around great and fun podcasts about so many fandoms. Thank you for the amazing content over the years, and I'm looking forward to continuing to follow Shell Cottage and the Extended Edition. Mischief managed, Jack.
Wow. I mean, that is so crazy to think back. So thanks, Jack, by the way. Love having you as a listener. This is awesome. I mean, it's cool. It's cool to hear that people go from one project to the next and they enjoy these different fandoms. Because I think a lot of people enjoy multiple fandoms, whether it be Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, Star Wars, whatever, Lord of the Rings. I'm into so many different things. And people have recommended other book series and things to get into. And I'm like, guys, I've got a big head, but it ain't that big. I can't keep all this stuff in there. This is it's wild. But sometimes just to sit back and enjoy it, it's just fun. So thank you, Jack. That's cool.
Thanks so much. And I have to agree with you. I am also stunned by all the projects you've done over the years. And I love to hear that you inspire people to go back to a fandom they once loved or to dive into a new fandom and read more books. That's I would say mission accomplished. And friends, we gotta help. We gotta help Ez to do this thing. And if you want him to read more fandoms and more books and series, then help him go full time.
Yeah, come on,
be
guys.
A full time content creator. And
let's go. Let's make it happen.
Podcast all day long.
I'll go crazy.
All the books you want him to read.
That's what I'm setting Extended Edition up for, by the way. I'm setting it up to be a one-stop shop where I can just go nuts on everything. So we shall see. But Jack, thanks a lot. This is cool. I mean, honestly, I can go back even before Rebel Watch when I was trying different things. Let's look it up. Oh my gosh! And then we had a couple of different things going back then. It was crazy. I mean, it's just been a journey. It's just fun. I like to create. I like to talk. I like to share my love of fandoms and share my love of storytelling, really, and my appreciation for it. So, it's cool. I finally, I think, settled in here and getting older, getting up there in age, and so now it's just time to settle down and do, my cozy little projects here with my Rosie. So, it's great.
Yeah. Thanks for including me.
Oh, no, it's wonderful. This has actually it's the dynamic I've been looking for, being a teacher and stuff too. It's really, this is, I think people don't understand, I think, what we do, right? So like being teachers and being in the public eye and being in our community and stuff, like I have kids who listen to this podcast. I have colleagues that listen to this podcast. And so for me, that's why you guys will hear, I made the joke actually earlier, PG-13, but that's as far as we'll go. Is I like having fun. I like cutting loose a little bit and talking nerdy stuff. And I think if you're in your workplace or you're with your colleagues, and how many of you have ever just asked around, like shared your favorite, the thing that you like, and found somebody at work that like also likes it? It doesn't happen often as we would think. And like Game of Thrones was one of those things that everyone was talking about it. And then people were like, well, I like that. I also like this too. And then people are like, well, I like that too. And people who didn't know that they were fans of this series, like have been sitting next to each other in this office for 15 years. And then now they're like, what? You're into fantasy? I mean, it's shocking that people.
I have a colleague too. Like she seems very good about Harry Potter stuff. She knows. Yeah. She knew right away when I had the Bobaton hat on that I was Fleur.
Dang.
Like there's a couple of them who really. I mean,
Interesting.
A lot of them actually who love Harry Potter. And
Well,
guess-
hey, Kid Harrington's out there. He loves Harry Potter.
oh, I
so
know. Yeah. We
don't
saw that
worry,
the
he's
other
next
day.
on our list of a guest. We're surprise announcement. We're bringing Kid Harrington on, and
No
he
joke.
agreed to.
I would love to.
He agreed to come on as long as I would not ask him anything about Game of Thrones. So okay, but anyways,
That'd be
Jack,
tough.
thank you so much. We appreciate you, and
Yeah.
we look forward to kind of continuing this journey, and we're
Yes.
we're thankful and happy that you're along the ride with us.
Yes, sir. All right, guys. That's getting dark outside, and Bill and Fleur, they have to go hit the gym before it closes. I don't even know. Does it close during the week? Because we always get reviews. Our gym, I think they have like some weird hours during the weekend. They might be open for a long time during the
Right.
week, but we always try to hit the gym at least 3 times a week, and this
Let's
is one
go.
of those days. So really, we're trying to squeeze in good dinner. We already had our dinner. A good podcast
It's
episode.
a good podcast, guys. Just it's a good cast.
Oh my gosh, good name for a podcast about Padme. A
Pad-
podcast.
A padcast?
No, okay.
A Padmecast?
Yeah.
What the heck?
That was bad. Sorry. I don't know.
That's-
I'm tired.
I love it.
Let's go on to the outro.
Fleur's like, let's get us out of here. No, again, guys, can't thank you enough. You're wonderful. We appreciate all of you. If you're listening week by week, let us know. It's encouraging, just so you know. Follow us over on Fleur and Bill. It's where everything's going down. And be sure to check out all those shorts. We got those rolling daily, if I can. Daily, friends. So also, by the way, if you do send in something really like a theory or a thought for the Owl Post, that very well, if you notice the social medias now over at Extended Editions, the YouTube page, and that's also the TikTok and the Instagram, where I'm kind of running all the shorts that we're doing that are related to Harry Potter. But if you send us an Owl Post, it is likely that could be turned into a short. And we would love to say thanks to you or your handle or what have you. They get a lot of traction. I can't believe 200K on some of those bad boys. It's like, oh, we're just sitting here talking Potter.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Love it. Anyway, it's fun. All right, friends, with that, thanks for joining us, and thanks for tuning in to Shell Cottage Radio 94.7 COZY. We hope you'll join us in the future. We thoroughly do enjoy meeting new positive Potter people that are like babbling bums. That's the first time I've really stuttered through it. We're going to keep it in.
Upon the baboons.
Oh my goodness. If you don't want to miss out on the next episode, then be sure to subscribe to our podcast and leave us a review and follow over on social media at Fleur and Bill.
Oh, my turn. If you truly enjoy our content, consider supporting our growing wizarding family on Patreon or Apple Premium. You'll find all the links down below. Thank you so much to all our current patrons. We appreciate you. To Luna and back. On our next reread episode, we will continue our journey through Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban with Chapter 21, Hermione's Secret. Make sure to tune back in next time. And until then, have a great rest of your week. Thanks for joining us in our Shell Cottage today. We know it's not much, but it's home. Knox.